Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Please take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy.
Which professions have the worst people? Don't have any particular skills? Are you able to drop six figures to start a business? Unable to work for or with others? Does managing a staff of mostly young, low-wage workers appeal to you? If you answered yes to these questions, restaurant ownership is the career for you. Restaurant and bar owners usually are the worst. There are exceptions. I've known a couple that were cool, but most of them are horrible people with weird god complexes. I think because most of the staff is easily replaceable and it's an industry where it's easy to take advantage of people. I've just met some real a-holes heads working in bars. It is an awfully stressful business to run. That's part of the problem with a lot of these guys. They think it will be fun. They think they'll just hire a chef and bar manager and make the place look nice and then the money will start rolling in. But it's actually very expensive. You wouldn't believe how shocked these amateurs are when they see what payroll costs. So instead of the fun playground they imagined where the waitstaff thanks them every day for making the place so profitable for everyone, they find themselves stressing over labor and Yelp reviews. Then they start micromanaging, thinking that the place would get really busy if only that one bartender greeted guests better, or if the silverware got polished better, or the food got cooked faster. They act like dumb a-holes and then the staff starts hating it there. People quit. There is always new people training new people. I mean, some owners do a good job, but in my experience the most successful places are the ones where you don't see the owner every day. Life coaches. Every person I have met who is a life coach is seriously the most worthless, messed up person I have ever come across. Life coach is basically what you do when you can't get through the 8+ years to be a psychologist but still want to dish out advice like you're some sort of sage. Can't be bothered learning about the science of psychology? Don't want to be restrained yourself to evidence-based practice? Still have lots of uninformed opinions or shower thoughts that you've dreamed up, and want to share? Then become a life coach. Private security and military contractors. Most of those companies are filled with guys who couldn't hack it in the military or police force but still want to carry guns and tell people what to do. Worked private security for decades. I was the worst because I just wanted an easy job, was lazy as hell and didn't want to be around people. I took night watchman jobs at places where I was all alone in the building all night. Hated working with other guards because so many were lazy, like me, losers, or bully types, or ex-cops. I'm extremely proud with getting away with not actively working but doing non-work related stuff. The amount of sleeping on the job alone was just ridiculous. I put more effort into making sure I was not caught goofing off than actually doing work. I got off on it. Real estate agents are vultures, and barely useful or necessary in modern society. They're in a position to suckle off a piece of huge sales and end up taking way more than their job should pay. The more narcissistic and sociopathic, the more successful. They're parasites, and somehow believe they're skilled even though most housing markets in the world are overcooked, and a monkey could sell a house. Nothing non-useful thrives, and real estate agents and agencies are making more money than ever. Journalism. People think it's a service to inform the community, but it's a mixture of being a beggar and being a salesman. You're supposed to alter stories to make them more profitable for the sponsors of your media of choice. That means you'll be lobbying a lot and shaving a lot of crucial data from what the audience gets. And that's just production. Journalists tend to have huge egos and treat people like while thinking they are the rightful owners of the truth. I worked for a local news network for a year. I studied journalism in college. I thought I would enjoy it, but it sucked my soul, my time, and ended up giving me crippling job anxiety. And I used to be an outgoing man, who never doubted his abilities. Now I'm just a guy transitioning to the IT sector for a better future. I'd rather do that than to go back there, to straight up lie to the people. Lying to the people so much about important things for money that isn't even your own, yeah, that messes you up. People that work in advertising agencies. You'll never find a group of people more obsessed with work or more shallow. Emails and phone calls 24/7, weekends and holidays. A prime example of workaholics. And I swear nearly everything I see there is superficial or dishonest. They'll happily miss their own children growing up if it means having an edge on another employee for the next promotion or spot on a cool new client. I feel like the harsh climate of extreme competition in the field makes them super prone to all kinds of nastiness, from lying to backstabbing to straight up cheating to get ahead. I heard from a wise old advertising man once, in advertising, you are criminally underpaid for the first half of your career, and then criminally overpaid for the second half. He's right. And the low wages on the front end make for some extremely competitive people, trying to make it to the light at the end of the tunnel. The dishonesty piece comes both from the creative work that is shipped, often being produced by people that really genuinely don't believe in the product, cause or offer, and then the accounting for expenditures after the campaigns have been completed. Advertising people can twist the numbers so badly. And it's all to maintain a generally shallow and superficial relationship with the client, which is only around so long as they have money to spend. I understand that ad agencies are businesses, and so it has to be superficial and financial to an extent. But it has always felt more fake and vain to me than genuine or fun. Salesmanship and dishonesty go hand in hand. I describe people as natural salesmen when they are backstabbing, narcissistic, lying pieces of garbage. It's great because I can say it to their face and they think it's a compliment. 2 of my friends started selling cars and now hang out with their co-workers basically every night. Holy hell, they're so retarded and annoying and terrible as people. Literally all they talk about is how many cars they sold that day and how hard they effed X person on X deal. They're all functioning alcoholics, they are literally all obese or smoke cigarettes. They're basically middle school boys in 20 to 40-year-old bodies. Also, life insurance salesmen. I've talked to so many people who are in their early 20s with no children or significant other that have permanent life insurance policies. They'll cold call 18-year-olds. Oil and gas workers. Most of them, not the engineers, are uneducated troglodytes who make 6 figures a year. They spend and act like pirates on shore leave when they are off. They think rolling coal is a valid counter-argument to climate change. They vote conservative because they're one-issue voters. They have no problem with their entire country falling to pieces as long as they have work. They flood to new drilling areas like a gold rush. Triple the prices of everything and bring infrastructure to its knees, then when the oil runs out the area gets devastated and all you hear is the sucking sound of a circling drain. Most grew up poor as dirt that make a year's salary in half the calendar year, so they come home and act like they own the world because they have a few bucks in their pockets. Surgeons. I used to videotape depositions, and lawyers are total buttwipes as everyone knows. But I was surprised by what complete tools the surgeons and medical experts are. Holy hell, dude, you do not walk on water and you do not get to treat me like a peasant. I'm a professional doing a job and I will not be parking your car or getting you coffee. Someone replied, I tangentially work with surgeons and 9 out of 10 times they are terrible people. Psychopaths in some sense. I mean, they have to be to a degree to do what they do. But they have no regard for anyone's feelings most of the time. Fat jokes, classist jokes, xenophobia, jokes about religion, they tend to tick every box. They definitely consider themselves to be superior a lot of the time. I find many of them are trying to emulate the jocks who were popular in high school and failing on delivery. Because their approach is basically just A plus B equals C, and if they say it or do it they will be awesome. No thought into any other social approaches. Many of them are quite bitter too. I have met a few awesome men and women who want to do right by their patients, but a large majority only cares about themselves. Apparently showbiz. Most are starving artists. Helping out with my college theater club was enough of a nightmare to convince me that it wasn't worth pursuing as a profession. When a community is so toxic that even the grown adults who are involved act like psychotic children, you know there are some deeply rooted problems that aren't ever going to go away. Any type of artist who gets paid for their art, painter, singer, etc., almost none of them show gratitude for the fact that not only do people like their art, but the fact that people are willing to pay them for it. All the artists that sell their art online which I've encountered view it as a business. And almost none of them sit down to think about how awesome it is that someone not only loves their art but wants to pay them for it. They simply take it for granted. All the bullies in my high school class became nurses. People always say they must be saints or good-hearted to become nurses, and obviously sure, there are some well-intentioned and compassionate nurses out there. But a profession that gives you incredible power over vulnerable people attracts roaches. Nursing is absolutely infested with bigotry, mistreatment, violations of patients' rights. Not even to mention the infighting between the nurses themselves. And no one will believe you when you get wronged by them because a real nurse would never do anything bad. All nurses are angels. I read a study that while men with the power-hungry traits of a bully may gravitate towards law enforcement where they have power over people, women are more likely to gravitate towards nursing where they hold people's lives in their hands. People in tech can make so much money, at such a young age, with so little education and certification, that it naturally attracts some of the worst little butt wipes you've ever wanted to strangle with a mouse cord. The egos are in the stratosphere, but the social skills can be down somewhere in the Mariana Trench. Apparently knowing Python and making six figures is all it takes for a 23-year-old to think he's a god. Calm down, Jake, we're making buttons, not curing cancer. I suppose when you have all the personality and appeal of a wet napkin, money does something to them where they think their faces are less punchable than before. I also get a small thrill from seeing how poorly they've executed trades and try to blame other people for it. Politics. I have years of professional experience and training in politics. It is indeed true that politicians at the highest levels are almost universally a-holes. By highest levels I mean the kind that would be running a lot of TV ads, statewide or congressional office in the US. Running at that level requires people to be willing to take extreme personal and professional risk and be immune to the harshest public criticism. Politics at that level tends also to reward those who can memorably criticize others. How many politicians' tweets praising someone have you seen retweeted compared to politicians' tweets criticizing someone? At these high levels of politics, for voters, I have the following advice. It's going to be the narcissists against the sociopaths, and so you'd better be rooting for the narcissists. Truly, when these people get into office, the narcissists still want to try to live up to their self-image by doing good work. The sociopaths just want to grab whatever fame and fortune they can. The lower down in politics you go, the more likely you'll get people who really just want to serve the public, and don't care about being famous or ascending to higher office. If they're older and wouldn't get recognized in the grocery store, it's 50-50 they're good people.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end. We want to thank you again for giving us a few minutes of your time, and we wish you have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe, it really does help us a lot. That's it from me, roll the outro.